I thought it would be helpful first to just go ahead and cover what's happened so far to date. So just to go ahead and give an overview, and I've got it up here on the screen for a beach nourishment timeline, what we've done to date and what our plan is in moving forward. So back in earlier this year in May of 2025, we submitted permit applications to Division of Coastal Management, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, with permit applications. Back in June, we had an industry day with potential bidders on the project to try to go ahead and garner interest. In September 2025, we received the permits for the project. And then at the back end of September, we went ahead and advertised for bids. As part of that bid process, we had a pre-bid meeting in mid-October, and then we received bids on November 13th. So today we're going to go ahead and just review those bids that we received back a couple weeks ago, and then at your mid-month meeting, we're going to go ahead and review the results of the fall survey, which that survey has been completed. That data is now being analyzed, and a memo will be generated by the consultant and presented at that mid-month workshop. We'll also have an opportunity to review and discuss the bids in greater detail, and then, as Amy had mentioned earlier, a presentation and discussion on project financing. And then at your January board meeting, there's an opportunity for the board to go ahead and consider the bid to be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder for the project. So just wanted to go ahead and cover that first. The bid structure that we had for the project gave bidders the opportunity to bid over multiple seasons. So we had a bid A, which was for a summer construction of 2026. And then we also had a bid B for construction of beach nourishment to occur within the 2027 summer time window. We had received 3 bids, one from Manson Construction, one from Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company, and one from Weeks Marine. Manson Construction did not submit a bid for the 2026 window, but did go ahead and submit a bid for the 2027 season. Both Great Lakes and Weeks Marine submitted bids for both summer seasons. All right. Just to give an overview of the bids, they were broken down into 12 different elements. The base bid, there were 8 different elements consisting of mobilization, demobilization, the beach fill portion of that, dune planting, sand fencing, there's relocation trawling, beach tilling, and then suspension of work. That was broken out for hopper dredge and a hydraulic dredge. And then there was 2 add alternates. And those add alternates were for the placement of an additional 100,000 cubic yards each. And the base bid, the amount was 2,236,000 cubic yards of base bid beach fill. So the low bid that was submitted for 2026 was by Weeks Marine, and I've highlighted some key numbers here within their bid in red. The mobilization and demobilization price was $8.5 million, and then the unit price submitted for the beach fill was $11.40. And then for each one of the alternates, the unit price for fill placement was $9.50. And so the total amount for the base bid was $34,934,100. For each one of the additive alternates, it was $950,000 each. And so the total price is $36,864,100 when considering both the base bid and add alternate pricing. For the other bid submitted by Great Lake, the all-in price was $43,044,554. The engineer's estimate for the project was $44,042,490. So you can see that from the engineer's estimate to the low bid for the 2026 season was significantly less, and so we got a pretty good competitive pricing for the 2026 season. For the 2027 season, we had received the 3 bids. Manson Construction had submitted a bid for the base bid of $42,104,950. For each one of the add alternates, they had $1.4 million for a total all-in price of $44,946,950. Weeks Marine, their bid was $38,454,870 for the base bid, and then $1,050,000 for each one of the add alternates, for a total price of $40,587,870. As compared to the low bid for the 27 season, which was submitted by Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company. The base bid amount was $37,280,751. Each one of the add alternates was $1,025,000 for a total all-in price of $39,362,551. The difference in pricing from the Weeks Marine price for 26 to the Great Lakes price for 27 was $2,498,451. So just under $2.5 million difference between constructing in 2026 as compared to 2027. I will note that we're not asking for any decision to be made today, because we wanted to go ahead and give the board a comprehensive look at everything to consider the fall survey and the financing, which we'll discuss more at your mid-month workshop. But just in looking back at some of the pricing we had received in the past, from the 2011 project, which was the first project that we had, we've seen 102% increase in cost from that project. From our last maintenance project in 2019, we've seen a 40% increase in cost from that project. The big drivers in the cost for these projects are mobilization and demobilization. From this project to our 2019 project, there's a $4.5 million increase that we've seen. And then also the beach fill placement, we're looking at the low bid of $11.40 as compared to about $8.05 for the last project. So we're starting to see some pretty significant increases for the cost of these large-scale projects. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
No, my only question was going to be the yard price, the price per yard comparison. You just addressed that there at the end of the remarks. Fortunately, despite the fact that we have significant increases, we pretty well anticipated them, and so her budget pretty nearly matches what we're going to what we're gonna be spending here, which is good. I mean, it's a little less. The number I've been carrying around in my head for about a year was about 42 million, I think, and so we're better than that, which is good.
Yeah, and I think with the bid framework that we have, we give the companies the greatest flexibility by giving them the option of doing it over multiple years. Back in 2019, we saw a savings of $16 million between the two projects. This one, we're looking at just under $2.5 million between the 2 years. But that does give the greatest flexibility, and we've talked to some other people in the industry, and they think that this is a better way to get the most competitive pricing.
Very good, thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Paul?
No questions. I look forward to the mid-month meeting, and learning some more.
Commissioner
No
Sanders?
questions, thank you.
Commissioner Whipple?
No questions, thank you.
All right.
I have a quick question. If mobilization and demobilization is so expensive, does this include all the potential mobilizations? Like if there's a lot of storms during this season, does this include all those breakdowns and moving in and outs? Or could they possibly tack on more for the mobilization if there was a lot of storms?
So the mobilization and demobilization is going ahead and staging that initial equipment and then going ahead and pulling off the job site. But I think what you're referring to is suspension of work, if we have some weather conditions. And so that is covered here in the bid documents with a price that's given. So does it cover, it covers a certain amount, but it probably may not cover everything that we could incur during the course of the project, if that makes sense.
And then do they have insurance that covers storms like that for if they have to move all their equipment and come back, or does the town cover that? I'm just curious.
So there is a suspension of work, and they did go ahead and give a pricing for that. And
Okay.
typically what they'll do is if the sea conditions exceed a certain wave height, and I think from what I recall, it's about 6 feet or greater, then they have to pull off their operations because it's no longer effective for them to go ahead and operate within those. And so the past projects, they've pulled off to Norfolk. This case, I think, for instance, Weeks Marine, they have a different location that they may go to down in Wilmington where they could go ahead and pull off in that case. And then, yeah, if there is a significant delay in work, then yes, those costs will be incurred. But we do have those amounts, so it won't be fluid.
Okay.
So those are 7A and 8A, those suspensions of work that are part of the
okay.
total.
But in past
For that.
projects, we've not been charged extra for any suspension of work.
For the 2019 and 2022 projects, yes, we did not incur any additional costs. I can't speak to 2011.
There was a lot of significant storms
question.
last summer, so
Yeah.
that's a good question.
Thanks, David.
But I think the timing of the summer construction window, we've seen that those are the best conditions for them to be able to operate. The time frame that we have spans from April to about December, and typically what they like to do is work within that beginning of May and try to get out by mid to late August.